Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, English.Learning.Academy. Today we have a strange video. Don't miss it. Maybe you were surprised to discover that the number 2 was pronounced the same as the word to. Or perhaps you thought it was strange that 8 was pronounced the same as the number 8. Words like these, which sound the same but have different meanings, are called homophones. In this post, I'll teach you 15 pairs of English homophones with example sentences to compare their uses. Number 1, 8 and 8. This is the simple past tense of the verb to eat. For example, I ate an entire pizza and now I'm really full and tired. The number after 7 and before 9. For example, Charles will wake up at 8 o'clock tomorrow. Interesting note. There is a popular children's joke that goes like this. Why was 6 afraid of 7? Because 7 8 9. Yes, it's pronounced because 7 8 9, and yes, it's a pretty bad joke. Number 2, bare and bare. If something is bare, it means that it's not covered or not decorated. For example, Tom likes to walk around his house in bare feet. He says it's more comfortable than wearing shoes. A large mammal. For example, when you go camping, you should be careful to not leave any food in your tent because it can attract bears. Number 3, buy and buy. A synonym of to purchase. It's probably one of the first verbs you learned. For example, I forgot my money at home. Do you think you could buy me lunch and I'll pay you back tomorrow? This can be used in many different ways. It's commonly used to mean next to or near when describing a location. It can also indicate who created something. For example, my favorite autobiography is the autobiography of Malcolm X, written by Malcolm X and Alex Haley. This is a shortening of goodbye. For example, I've got to go now, so bye. See you on Sunday. Number 4, cell and cell. A cell is a small area or a room, usually in a prison. A cell can also be one of the smallest divisions of a living organism. For example, the prisoner spent 10 years in his cell. To exchange a product or service for money, like buy. It was probably one of the first verbs you learned. For example, we would like to sell our car, but we don't think we'd get very much money for it. Number 5, dew and do. Dew is the name for small drops of water that accumulate on plants and other objects outside during the night. For example, when I went outside early in the morning, the dew on the grass made my shoes wet. This common verb is used to indicate an action. It can also be an auxiliary verb. For example, what do you usually do on Friday nights? This is used to indicate the deadline that something can happen. It's also used to indicate when a baby will probably be born. For example, my friend is pregnant. Her baby is due in October. Number 6, eye and eye. The part of your body that you use to see. For example, my eyes hurt when I read. I think I need a pair of glasses. A first-person singular subject pronoun. For example, I really hope you know what this word means. Number 7, fairy and fairy. A mythical creature that can often do magic. For example, there is a fairy named Tinker Bell in the story Peter Pan. A ferry is a boat that moves passengers and vehicles across water. It's used for long distances or places where there are no bridges. For example, the ferry in Costa Rica is really hot and incredibly badly organized. At least the trip only takes an hour. Number 8, flour and flour. This is the main ingredient in bread. It's a powder made from ground grains. For example, Tony wanted to make a cake, but he didn't have any flour, so he couldn't. The decorative, colorful part of a plant. For example, if you want to give flowers to somebody you love, avoid white roses. They are often given when someone dies. Number 9. For and for. This preposition is usually used to indicate a person who receives something, or to indicate a purpose. For example, we wanted to buy a chocolate cake for Cheryl's birthday, but the bakery didn't have any for sale. The number after 3 and before 5. For example, the Beatles, one of the most famous bands ever, had 4 members: George, John, Paul, and Ringo. Number 10. Hear and hear. This is the action that you do with your ears. The sense is called hearing. For example, I can't hear the TV. Can you please turn up the volume? Here indicates the place where you are at any moment. It's the opposite of there, basically. For example, can you set the boxes down over here, please? Yes, right here next to the door. Number 11. Hour and hour. A period of time that lasts 60 minutes. For example, it takes about 6 hours to drive from San Francisco to Los Angeles. This is the possessive pronoun form of we. For example, we should study for our exams. Number 12. Know and know. To have knowledge or understanding about something. For example, Reggie knows how to speak French. This indicates a negation or something that's not true. For example, there is no good reason to listen to Justin Bieber. Number 13. Knight and knight. A man given a special honor, or rank, by a king or queen. Their title is usually Sir. For example, one popular English legend talks about King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. The period of time when it's dark and most people sleep. For example, I prefer to work at night, since it's quieter and not as hot. I can concentrate better. Number 14. Mail and mail. As a noun, this is a collective noun for letters and packages. As a verb, this means to send something to somebody. Email also comes from this word. For example, I haven't gotten the mail yet today, but I was expecting a letter from Grandma. Can you please check the mailbox? An adjective, or noun, indicating that something is masculine or has masculine reproductive organs. For example, people always ask if our cat is pregnant. I tell them he can't be, since he's a male. He's just fat. Number 15. Marry and marry. The action when two people have a wedding, also called to get married. For example, my grandpa told me to be sure to marry a good woman. A synonym for happy, but less common in modern English. Mostly used in phrases like Merry Christmas. For example, in December the song We Wish You a Merry Christmas always gets stuck in my head.